All right, folks, while the Republicans were having their debate for, the people who are not Trump, Trump was actually just counter-programming it with Tucker. Donald Trump assessed this debate in his own way. As you would predict, he was a big fan of Ramaswamy, which demonstrates once again that he is not running against Ramaswamy, nor is Vivek running against him. He at one point tweeted out, this answer gave Vivek a big win in the debate because of a thing called truth. Thank you, Vivek. That would be with regard to Vivek explaining that he was the best president of the 21st century. Of course, again, Trump, I think, had a pretty good time probably watching the debate. He was attacking Chris Christie. He was attacking Nikki Haley a little bit. He went after, for sure, DeSantis. But overall, nothing really happened in the debate that I think shook Trump's lead. Meanwhile, Trump's surrogates were complaining that they were blocked from the spin room, which they should be blocked from the spin room. If your candidate doesn't show up for the debate, you don't get to go to the spin room and then jabber about the other candidate. It's kind of ridiculous. But here was Don Jr. complaining about it last night.
Right now, trying to ban people from actually having discourse about politics.
How un-American.
Probably shouldn't surprise any of us. But that's what it is. And I've been told by others that I would be able to go in. So they said we were able to go in, then they said they weren't. Now that we're here, and the candidate that
said you can't go in the spin room.
They're telling me right now, Fox won't let me into the spin room.
That's what the American people should know. This is the kind of
they're telling him he works for security here, but they're telling him that I'm not allowed to go in there because the candidates that
if your dad showed up to the debate, you could go.
I
don't understand.
For the last 2 years, didn't perform as they had hoped. So they can't have someone who can maybe be a representative of my father. Just like a few weeks ago when I was canceled after the first indictment, I was scheduled to go on. And about 5 minutes
I'm sorry. This is silliness. This is silliness. If your candidate doesn't show up to the debate, you don't get to put your person in the spin room. I mean, that seems like fairly fair on every level, especially because Trump was getting plenty of attention of his own. He did an interview with Tucker Carlson on Twitter, X. Apparently, it has some 200 million views. Now, worth explaining here that every time you scrolled past the video on Twitter and spent longer than 2 seconds on it, that counts as a view. So is that equivalent to actually watching a national televised debate? Those views are not in any way equivalent, but those are a big number nonetheless. And Trump, had it easy. Tucker asked him 0 hard questions. Tucker did not press him on pretty much anything. It wasn't a serious interview. I mean, I've seen Tucker do serious interviews where he asked hard questions of people. This was clearly not that interview. It doesn't mean that Trump wasn't funny. So for all those who think that Vivek is another Trump, I don't think anybody's another Trump. Trump is a deeply funny human being. I mean, the guy has like a real sense of humor. The contrast is sort of Trump is the 7th grade bully who says things about people that are inherently funny. Right? He's the guy who makes fun of that guy for being fat, and he's the guy who makes fun of that guy for being slow, and he's that guy. Vivek is the guy who got into Harvard, lets every single person in the room know about it, and then makes fun of you for owning like a 1987 Honda Civic while he has a Benz. It's not quite the same sense of humor, and one is a lot kind of sharper and more divisive. In any case, I'll give you an example. Vivek's joke last night about Nikki Haley, or his attack on her, is that she was hired by Raytheon or some such. Trump's attack on Joe Biden is that he looks like he walks on toothpicks, which is hysterically funny. Here's Donald Trump last night.
But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. I don't do 2 people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. That was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy. And I used it for Joe because it's Crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks. He can't lift his feet out of the grass. It's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. Those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces. You lift them up. He can't lift a chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. This beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach.
Inimitable. I mean, like that's it. I mean, you can't imitate it, but you can't duplicate it, man. He is an insult comic, right? I mean, that's what the guy does for a living, and he insult comicked his way to being president of the United States. Whether he can do it again is another question. But I mean, like, no one on the stage can do that, obviously. Like, is that a quality that you need in a president? Probably not. Is it really funny? Yeah, it's really, really funny. Let's talk about the fact that your cell phone, it's in desperate need of replacement. As you have your cell phone longer and longer, your battery life basically degrades. And so now you can't go outside for 5 minutes without the thing dying. Well, all those signs. This is why you should check out Pure Talk. Why? Well, because you can upgrade to a new 5G Samsung Galaxy from Pure Talk for free. Get a free 5G Samsung Galaxy today with 2-day battery life, edge-to-edge display, ultra-strong Gorilla Glass when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, text, and 15-gig data plan for just $35 a month. Plus, it comes with a mobile hotspot. If you're not using Pure Talk, you're simply paying too much. Get all the data you could ever need for half the price of the big carriers on America's most dependable 5G network. Head on over to puretalk.com/Shapiro for your free, super durable 5G Samsung Galaxy when you switch on over to Pure Talk. Again, visit puretalk.com/Shapiro. Make the switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk. It's the official wireless partner of the Daily Wire. I do all my business phone calls on Pure Talk, which means a lot to me since, I run a very large business. You should also do the same. Great coverage. They don't hate your guts. Go check them out right now. And when you do, you can upgrade to that new 5G Samsung Galaxy from Pure Talk for free. That's puretalk.com/Shapiro. I don't know about you. This summer heat in South Florida, it is really, really hot outside. But there's something you should not be sweating this summer. That is the price of meat. Thanks to Good Ranchers, you don't have to. Your price can be locked in for 2 years. You might be thinking a price lock guarantee on meat. Yes, it is amazing. It's amazing because, again, those prices are going up, so why not lock that in? Good Ranchers is the only meat company locking in your price with their industry-first price lock guarantee. Since 2021, they've been helping people combat the inflation of the meat aisle as well as the mystery of it as well. It turns out over 85% of all grass-fed beef is imported from overseas. And so not only is store-bought meat expensive, often it's low foreign quality as well. But when you subscribe to Good Ranchers, you're getting a guaranteed price and a trusted 100% American source for your favorite cuts. You can save on your beef, chicken, and pork by locking in your price today. Every single steakhouse quality cut is individually wrapped and flash frozen to make mealtime easy. So head on over to goodranchers.com. Use my code Ben for $30 off any box. That is promo code Ben at goodranchers.com. Again, goodranchers.com. That's American meat delivered. Goodranchers.com. They made me a kosher steak one time. I got to tell you, it was unbelievable. Their meat is that good, I think, for everybody else who doesn't keep kosher. Go check them out right now. Goodranchers.com. Use my code Ben for $30 off any box. The nature of this particular interview was just Tucker not asking him anything remotely difficult. The most difficult question that he asked Trump was whether Epstein killed himself, to which Trump said, yeah, probably. But Tucker, listen, Tucker has principles, obviously. He speaks about them regularly. This would have been a great opportunity for him to ask the former president and leading Republican candidate about some of those principles. He didn't do any of it. Instead, he how soft were the softballs that Tucker was throwing to Donald Trump? He asked Donald Trump to rip on Mike Pence by suggesting that Donald Trump had always been very nice to Mike Pence. This question is so bizarre. I don't even know what to say about this.
You've always been nice to Pence. I've never heard you criticize Pence. You've defended him in public many, many times. He's out there attacking you. What is that?
What?
So Mike wants to run for president. You got to understand. In my opinion, Mike Pence had the absolute right to send the votes back to the legislatures. The Democrats and everybody said, you don't have the right. In other words, what I said, is he a human conveyor belt? You mean if he finds fraud in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in any of these states?
I don't care about Trump's answer. It's Tucker's question that's absurd. You've always been nice to Mike Pence? The actual what? What? Oh! Okay, for those who have a memory of a goldfish, let me remind you of a time when Donald Trump suggested, nay, said outright, that Mike Pence had the unilateral capacity to overthrow an American election, essentially called him a coward, suggested that he would be forced to do so, and then when Mike Pence called him from the Capitol building on January 6th, because the Capitol building was under assault, he basically did nothing. You were always very nice to Mike Pence is one of the craziest Orwellian statements I have ever heard. You were always very nice to Mike Pence is an insane statement. That's truly, that's a crazy, crazy question. But that was the nature of this. That was the nature of this interview, which again, softball interview on Twitter. Did it counter program Fox? Not really. I watched both, but I doubt very many people actually did. And Tucker did ask him one question that was of relevance, but then he didn't press him on it. He said, they stole it last time. Why wouldn't they steal it this time? Now, the question you should have asked is, we all know they're going to, you say that you won the election last time. And if you're Tucker, you believe that's true, apparently, or you at least believe enough of it that you're willing to say it. The question to Trump should be, okay, how are you going to unsteal it? Right? I mean, that's like a question that whether you love Trump, whether you hate Trump, that's a really good question that Trump has never answered. You say the election was stolen in 2020, but you won. But it was stolen, but you won. So let's say the same thing happens this time. What is your plan to unsteal the election? Can you name how you're going to overcome all of this? Can you lay out your electoral strategy? How are you going to get out the vote? What kind of budgeting are you dedicating to, say, grassroots organizing? What sort of budget are you dedicating to your legal team? What sort of legal measures are you preparing? Do you have ballot watchers? Do you have vote counters? Like, how exactly is this going? Like, that would be a useful question. How much of your Trump campaign fund is being dedicated to, say, your legal expenses in Georgia, as opposed to building up the infrastructure necessary to preserve an election that you win if you say that you won 2020? Is that the question Tucker asked? No. He asked him the question of, like, why are people so mean to you?
And immediately after the election, they met rhinos, could name them all, and Democrats, and they approved legislation that takes away the right of the vice president to do it. So I said, so you're saying I was right. The vice president did have the right to do it, and they said, yes, he did.
So if you're saying they stole it from you last time, why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. They're going to be trying, yeah. And not only me, These people are sick. They will go after them. And a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well, I must tell you. I think it's...
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
I think it's a lot easier because I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it. The people see it's a fraud.
Okay, so that's what the entire interview was. That's not counter-programming. I'm sorry. That really is not. I mean, it's just a propaganda 45-minute softball for Trump. That's all that is. I mean, just realistically speaking, that you may love it. Maybe that's your bag, but that's what it is. And that, how are you simultaneously so brave and yet so humble? And that's what that interview was. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.